It's kind of a full out sprint almost.
Right. 50K is a full out sprint.
You're pushing the pace if you're being competitive.
Hey, Happy New Year. Episode 208 of the Athletes Podcast. Thanks for clicking on it. Brayden Mills I've known for 20 plus years. We went to school as kids together. We've grown up over the past couple decades, and it was an honor to be able to feature him on the show today. If you haven't checked out his stuff, go check out his Instagram. He posts some inspirational content, hosts running clubs on a weekly basis. I've been admiring his athletic endeavors over the past couple years, so it was a well overdue episode. I'm glad you folks are here to listen to this episode. We talked about World Juniors, which unfortunately the Canadians are eliminated from. Hopefully Sweden can take that home as the host nation. In other news, the PWHL successfully hosted 2 games this past week, one in Toronto, one in Montreal. The PWHL is officially here, and for that reason, Cook Stark Management released their very own We Are Pro women's sports hoodies in collaboration with Stark Hockey. Head on over to Stark Hockey and use the code CSM10 to get 10% off your very own Stark Hockey CSM hoodie. Tag us on your social media when you're wearing this, and we'll make sure to share it on all our social platforms. And if you'd like, hit a comment below. You'll be entered to win your very own hoodie. Don't forget about our athlete agreement. You folks clicked on this. We don't ask for anything in return other than you hitting that subscribe button, whether you're on Apple, Spotify, podcasts, wherever you're listening or watching. Where you should be watching is YouTube, so you can see this fire hoodie. Anyways, without further ado, let's get to episode 208 featuring Brayden Mills, here to educate, entertain, and inspire the next generation of athletes. Here we go. You're the most decorated racquetball player in U.S. history. World's strongest man. From childhood passion to professional athlete. 8-time Ironman champion. So what was it like making your debut in the NHL? What is your biggest piece of advice for the next generation of athletes? From underdogs to national champions. This is the Athletes Podcast, where high-performance individuals share their triumphs, defeats, and life lessons to educate, entertain, and inspire the next generation of athletes. Here we go. There's pros and cons to living life on the road, put it that way. A little kickstart for cheers to the AP Brewing.
Cheers, dude.
Athletic Brewing. This is what's the code? Brayden 11, Brayden 10.
Brayden 20, I think. Yeah, Brayden 20, BRAYDEN.
There you go. Discount. No free ads here, Athletic Brewing. What were we talking about though? Coffee in the morning, living remotely. Dude, we have been traveling a lot. It's been crazy, but we've got to see like every part of the world. Outside of Phoenix, where you just ran your crazy, insane run. How you feeling after that?
Good. Yeah, pretty good. Knee's a little bit mangled, but it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be good.
You'll survive.
Yeah.
You've put on how many miles over the past couple of years, dude? Because you were previously the self-proclaimed meathead, now turned ultramarathon runner. What the heck happened? How'd that change?
I don't know, man. When COVID hit, I was big into the gym. COVID hit. And I was like, you know what, screw it, let's run a marathon. So I trained to do a marathon and also trying to improve my squat, kind of PR. And I did it anyways. Yeah. And then it was just like a domino effect. And I was like, okay, let's get faster and faster. And thankfully I moved out to beautiful BC and then fell in love with the trails, did a couple trail races, did surprisingly well with like not really training for it. And then I was like, okay, I like this. And now I'm just all in.
I feel like you were training. Do you mean just not training to what you know now, like the standard?
Yeah, dude. Like, it's crazy. Like, just to look at it, like my volume now, even comparison to like the top pros is low.
Right.
Like this past fall is the most I've ever ran, and it's still not enough to be the best. So I have to step it up in the next year.
So you're not putting up Zach Bitter numbers, is what you're saying?
Maybe one day. I got to slowly build up. So
he did say that you just got to build up bit by bit. That's, but I feel like you've been on the grind for a couple of years and you still are putting up numbers. It's not like you're doing nothing.
Yeah, I think this year I put close to 3,500K.
Okay.
Which is good for sure.
Yeah.
Especially considering what I did the past couple of years. It was a big jump. But yeah, compared to Zach Bitter numbers, it's probably a bit low.
I feel like that'd put you in the top 10 of Strava though.
Yeah, I got the year end yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Top 2.
Top 2%?
Top 2.
Yeah, no big deal. That's worth the Athletic Brewing sponsorship right there. You said though that you've like taken the gas off a bit right now?
Yeah, because I've been going pretty hard at it since the spring.
Yeah.
And I was just, as soon as the daylight savings, it got darker and rainy here in Vancouver.
Pacific Northwest, man.
It's brutal. Like, it's beautiful, but in the winter,
it's only about 5 hours of it. And you gotta get out of Dodge. That's why we've been traveling so much. Get the vitamin D,
get
soak
the
up
sun.
some sun. Yeah.
But I was just burnt out. I was done with it. Like, I didn't enjoy going out for runs the last couple months, or last month, I should say.
Before the race.
And if you look at my training, it kind of actually went down. My coach
lit you up,
rinsed me after the race, but I just need some time to I've ran a couple times since the race, but I need to take just a couple weeks off.
What was that like? It was 50 miles?
Yeah.
Just wrapping your head around doing 50 miles is one thing, then completing it is another. Like, looking back, what would you have changed? Would you have just ran harder?
Run smarter.
Okay.
I have a tendency of going out way too hot in all the races. And in a 50K distances, I can hold that. I never usually blow up because it's the grand scheme of things compared to the long distances. It's not that long. It's kind of a full out sprint almost.
Right. 50K is a full out sprint?
Not necessarily, but you're pushing the pace if you're being competitive. And the 50 miles, I'm still trying to really find my good spot, kind of where to pace myself, because I go out too hot. And that was a conversation I had with my coach prior to this race. He's like, don't get caught up with the front pack. He's like be mature. Anyways, we took off and they went out super hot. We were doing between 4 to 4:10K pace on the trail for the first 30K. And just the guy, David Roche won. I don't know if you're familiar with.
I should be.
You can check him out. So he coaches a lot of the pros, but he's also a savage himself. So he won the race. But anyways, they went out hot. I ended up kind of falling off near the end. And I can get into more of that later. But I still did well. But coach was like, you blew up. You went out way too hot. And he's like, if you would have went slower at the beginning, it would have been hard in your mind because they're way ahead of you. But he's like, you would have made time and probably caught up with them near the end. So that's what I got to work on.
Was your goal to win it?
Yeah, coming into it, my goal was, this was probably one of the most competitive races I've done. So I wanted to do top 5.
Okay.
I wanted a podium. There was money on the line. But it didn't necessarily happen.
How does the hockey player that I grew up with playing house league hockey in Semiahmoo end up, trying to podium, come top 3 in these 50-mile races? Because that's one thing. We've had 200 episodes plus on the show, and it's, we're featuring Olympians, high performers, NHL, MLB, NBA. But we also got to showcase the real athletes, the everyday athletes.
Yeah.
Whether they're weekend warriors, people putting up marathon numbers. Dude, running a 4:10-kilometer pace is ridiculous on a trail to begin with. Then to try and put that over 50 miles. I can see why you blew up. Not having much experience at that distance, I can see why. But, let's maybe rewind, give some context to the listeners around our relationship.
Yeah.
Because we knew each other well before you became the world-class athlete that you are today.
Dude, and I was thinking about this the other day. One of the first memories I have, so I was 11. I turned 11 on the flight moving out to BC, to White Rock, where we lived.
Yeah.
And I remember joining hockey, Semiahmoo Ravens, and it was a couple weeks or a week already into the season or something. I remember coming to the dressing room, and there was nobody else in the dressing room yet except for you. I don't know if you remember this at all.
It's jogging some memories.
But I remember going to the dressing room and you were putting on your pads. You were the only guy there so far. But anyways, you were one of the first friends I met there. Yeah. So I remember that.
Eager beaver showing up early, getting the gear on. That's the goalie struggles, So
that was probably the first memory of you. And then I have another funny story.
Let's hear it, dude. We didn't go over this, so I'm ready to hear.
So every time if I'm talking to my dad and I mention you, he always brings this up. So I thought it was funny. I thought we'd bring it up. So I don't know if you remember, we went to the Vancouver Canucks. It wasn't a game, but the St. Louis Blues were in town.
Okay.
And it was a practice, I think. And do you recall this at all?
Dude, no.
Okay. So Manny Legacy
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was the goalie at the time for the St. Louis Blues.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up and played hockey with my dad, so they were good buddies.
Okay.
And so we got invited to the practice. I don't know, like before the game. Do you?
Yeah, I remember, this is jogging memory. Yeah.
So, anyways, I remember you came with me and we went down to the practice and whatever.
Did I end up with a stick or something?
Yeah, someone gave a stick. I think my brother took it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my brother took it, but it was Kachuk's stick.
No way.
Yeah, dude. The curve on it too is crazy. It's still at the house back home.
Oh, yeah. We need a little memorabilia. I'm gonna have to buy that off your brother. Put it in our studio.
And on the knob too, it says
To David Stark.
to David Stark. Yeah. But on the knob, dude, it says Taryn, Matthew, and Brady.
No way. Wow. Yo, that's a piece of wood that you want to keep forever. Holy Dinah.
Where I was going with the funny story though is we were coming back, Dad. I don't remember this, but my dad always brings it up. Lady Gaga and Poker Face was on in the back in the drive-thru, and you were going Poker Face. My dad always brings it up, so I had to bring it up.
Hey, look at that, Mr. Mills, just remembering the good old days. I think we had a school project that we were submitting that was in line with that song for some reason, so I had to memorize it, but that's good. That's perfect. Dude, I was trying to think back, like, because we played on the same team a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
And, I was letting in goals left, right, and center. But we did spend a lot of time together in high school, and then it was like probably a 4-year hiatus between high school, uni, and then we meet back at Brock randomly. And then go again another 4 years without talking, and now we're having beer. Cheers to that.
Cheers, dude.
And now you're just living with Kyle and Kevin 24/7, 365, cycling, training with them.
Yeah.
Kev still seems like he's got it on all his Insta stories on the swing. The golf swing is still there.
Well, yeah, after this pod, we're going out later.
Are you?
Yeah, we're going to go just to the goat pasture down the road.
Who's that's a pretty competitive group between the three of you, Kyle and Kev.
Yeah, depends what we're doing though.
Yeah.
Kev will kick our. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Kick our asses.
I love how preserved he was swearing there. That was amazing. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Mills.
Kev will kick our ass in golf.
Yeah.
Like you're a good golfer.
He doesn't kick my ass quite as bad. He might now, but
okay.
I've got some work to do to keep up with him.
Yeah.
He's just got good hand-eye, man.
Unreal.
He's always had it since we were 10, 12, 16 years old. Every single time, whether it was baseball, ping pong, golf,
ping pong. Oh yeah, even pool. We played pool last night, and he rinsed us on that.
Like, yeah. It's you know what? He was one of those ones. It was always fun playing with him because at least I had someone who I was always gonna be challenged by. Put it that way. Yeah, it was BS, frustrating at times, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Did you end up playing hockey at Brock after, like intramurals and stuff?
Yeah, played intramurals.
Yeah,
for a bit. It was fun.
That was the best. Yeah. Playing at 1 a.m. in the morning.
I was just gonna say straight. I remember we did one game. Yeah, don't necessarily do this anymore, but I remember we went to the bar, and then we'd like strategically made it work. We would already have a van or a car there to put the bags in after the game, so we Ubered there, had the gear there already, played hockey, and it was a good time.
I mean, when you got Moose Wednesdays and then you have a hockey game at 1:30 in the morning, it's only natural to make sure you get dollar beers at Moose prior to hitting up the rink. I just look back at like how much you've progressed from, and actually how we both have realistically, but what's the kind of spur of the moment thing that gets you to sign up for a 50K, that gets you to sign up for a 50 mile or sign up for Canadian Death Race? Like what compels you to do that?
Well, it all started COVID. Like I said, when the gym shut down, dude, I did a marathon and I kind of fell in love with running, and I just love the process because I think we live in a day and age where we have access, and I think you'll be on the same page with this. We have the access to the internet to learn anything. Like you can find a free marathon program, YouTube video.
You know what we'd also love to hear from you guys, specifically the males watching this Athletes Podcast episode. What are you guys doing for your face? You guys are probably brushing your teeth every day, but are you washing your face? Are you applying the good every night to make sure that you're hydrated, moisturized, making sure that your skin looks young, youthful, glowing? I personally use Caldera Lab. I start off my day by washing my face with the clean slate. You can tell it's still wet. That's because I used it this morning. Then I follow it up I throw on the nice little icon here in the middle underneath the eyes, keeps those black dark spots away. And then to finish it off, we use the beard product to make sure that the beard's looking nice and full. Check out calderalab.com. Use the code AP20 for 20% off yours. It's the best deal that they offer anywhere out there. And I can't recommend the products enough. I use Caldera Lab every single day. As you can tell, my skin's looking all right, and I'm very happy with it, to say the least. I want to know, though, if you're using it, let us know down below. Guys, promise you're going to love it.
And I remember always thinking, I want to be that guy one day, who's done a marathon, whatever. And I still think that's so cool. But then once you do it, it's just like a domino effect. And it's like, okay, what else can I do? So after doing that, like I said, I was just like, okay, let's do it faster. And then I was like, okay, if I do this, well, I definitely can do an ultra if I just follow a plan and then do an ultra. And then now I'm competitive with it and I want to try to go pro. So I think I just kind of fell in love with the process of it. And just if you have a plan, you follow it. And then once you finish it, it's like, holy smokes. And then just translates into every other aspect of your life.
That is the biggest thing. I think people don't realize how much athletics transition to real life, business, etc. And people are like, oh, I don't listen to the Athletes Podcast because I'm not a marathon runner, or I don't lift weights, or I don't play pro hockey. And it's like, no, everyone should listen to the Athletes Podcast, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, we're all athletes, and realistically, anyone's capable of going and running a marathon.
Yeah, 100%.
Of going, I'm mind boggled when people are like, oh, I'm going to sit on my couch and just chill for the weekend. It's like, maybe just take a little Brayden Mills strategy and just put a little plan in place, go for a run, see where it takes you.
Just do it.
Right?
It's so good. And I think you really will fall in love with it. And I've been lucky that I've actually fell in love with ultra running, like you said, to sign up for these longer distances. Your kind of view on things change. Like a 50K was, whoa, like that's out of this world. But then, like I said, once you do it, it's okay. That wasn't too bad. Let's work on it. Let's do something farther. Let's go farther. Let's go faster. And yeah, maybe you have to be a different kind of person to do those longer distances. But I find when you're out there and you kind of, if you enjoy the suffer, you kind of get addicted to it. And just that feeling when you finish, it's just nothing else like it.
What's going through your mind at mile 40 to mile 49?
Honestly, dude, like training, I'm always thinking, but during a race, I go into such a weird zone. Like,
are you headphones?
No, I never listen really to music.
Okay.
Running sometimes if I'm training, but not usually. Races never. I just go into a weird, I know everyone's saying this now, but like a flow state. Like I just get in this weird flow state, man, on a race, and everything's just doesn't feel like I'm out there for 8 hours. Like it feels like I'm out there for an hour. It's just, everything's just tunnel vision.
And then you don't have anything you're reminding yourself, like a mantra, keeping yourself kind of in that Zen state or flow state?
Not necessarily a mantra. I think like I really want to, it's something I love and I'm passionate about, and I want to kind of take this sport, like take my, like go professional and take it to the next level. So I have that kind of in the back of my mind. And I think part of that is trying to inspire other people. Like you said, like I was a house league hockey player. Like if you asked me 5 years ago, I would not be in the position I am. So I think like just every ordinary person, if you just put in the work, follow a plan, like you can do some crazy shit. So yeah, I don't know. There's a tentative time in February that there's a 50K going on. I think it's in the interior. I don't know if you know the one that I'm talking about. Yeah, I think you sent this to me. Yeah. So, something Moose or something like
that.
that.
I can't remember. Maybe I'll throw my phone to Phoenix. No, she'll look it up at some point. My uncle and I were chewing on an idea of doing that. I also need to put on some serious miles because I don't have these legs ready for it. But I feel like, to your point, if you set out a plan, I had a buddy, Bobby Ryan, shout out to him. He did like a 50K within a month, and then he just did a 50 miler.
Heck yeah. And
he I know he's got an engine that's crazy. He played for Colorado University skiing team, but he skied for it, I guess. But
same thing.
Either way, it was like, we've been on runs together, and I know the work ethic that's required. And I feel like at that point, Zach Bitter even said during his episode, it's like, it's not ultra marathon running at that point. You're just completing it. Like, it's not really a run. It's a jog.
There's some hiking
right?
involved.
It's a hike. So to me, I'm like, okay, even if I wasn't running the entire time, I could get this done. I got long legs. Even if I just use the long strides, maybe I can make it happen. And I'm at the leanest I'm probably ever going to be. So I feel like I should try and take advantage of that.
Do it, man.
I feel like we got to drag you out, though. We got to get Jason
Dude,
Hardrath.
if it's in February, I'm in.
Okay.
I'm kind of making my schedule for the year right now. So
maybe we have to tentatively do that. Putting this out there will hold me accountable. I'll have 2 months to do it. David Hutchison, who's the founder of In Goal Mag, my uncle, he'll be joining. We're going to do it. Well,
that's your uncle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw you post stuff before. You have your cousin too, right? That plays.
Yeah, he's playing for the Giants. That's who we're going to go watch tonight, actually.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Go watch them play. Shout out to Maddie. Going to put a shout out against the Prince George Cougars, hopefully. No, I think like the running community is way tighter than any other group I've experienced also. And I'm not even in it, but I can see it.
Dude, it's insane. And I think there is a difference too. Running as a whole, huge community, but I also think it's a little bit of a stronger bond, stronger community in the ultra trail space.
True.
It's just, I find it's, as much as people want to win and you're competitive out there, there's also it's just like everyone's just trying to do the best they can and everyone's supporting each other and everyone's out there to just have fun at the same time. That's what I love about it. And everyone likes to have a good time after too.
Yeah.
Like it's not all work. There's a little bit of fun involved. That's just, I love it.
You said there was money involved. Like what does a podium finish win you?
Depends where you are, like what race it is. Like, there's a big 100 miler down.
Like Leadville?
Not Leadville. Leadville might have some prize money on it. I'm not 100% sure. Run Rabbit Run usually has some solid prize money.
Like what are we talking? 5K?
Yeah, up to that. I think like fourth place was like $2,500 or something. This one wasn't anything crazy. I think first place was like the Arizona race. First place was $1,500.
Okay.
$750 for second, and like
pays for your flights to get there.
Exactly.
Though.
It's nothing crazy. That's the whole thing with ultra running right now. I don't know if you've heard much about it.
Teach me.
There's kind of, I don't want to call it a divide, but there's
we got a pup.
Bobo. Sorry, our dog's coming in.
Hello. Is he allowed up on the couch?
Yeah. No. Whoa.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
The divide with ultra running.
And
again, I shouldn't call it a divide. It's not a divide, but there's kind of, ultra running's in a tough spot right now because trail and ultra running is one of the fastest growing outdoor kind of sports right now. And a lot of people really want to professionalize it, and some people don't. And some people want to do both, but just really keep the integrity of the community aspect.
Okay.
Where there's some controversy with UTMB right now, taking over smaller races like the Coast Mountain Trail race. I don't know if you heard about that in Whistler. So there's some stuff to be talked about, but
I think that's why there was it was through this Zach Bitter thread on Twitter that my uncle and I were chatting about this February Moose one.
Okay.
So because the UTMB was taking over and this was not private yet or something along those lines. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't really, probably shouldn't get too much into it.
Okay.
But there was a race in Whistler by Coast Mountain Trail. They tried to do it for next year basically, and they got shut out by some other companies, not going to say. And then UTMB came in and all of a sudden has a race in Whistler next year. But the community's so strong that a lot of them aren't going to go.
Gotcha.
They're backing Gary Robbins and the true BC trail community. But there's a fine line because you still want to professionalize the sport, but you also want to make sure all these smaller organizations that actually kind of started ultra running are still together, if you will. So it's a complicated one.
Yeah. And is it Gary Roberts?
Gary Robbins. Robbins, yeah.
Okay, so Gary Robbins, the Athletes Podcast is with you. We'll be supporting your runs. BC proud.
He'd be a good guy to get on too.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I need to do a race though, so that I can actually connect with these guys. Because I played hockey, I can do a bit of it. Zach Bitter's like, man, what's this guy doing? He's, my longest run probably 20K. I'm just short of a half marathon. I'm definitely going to do the marathon at some point, but I might end up doing an ultra before a marathon.
Just go all in, man. Just do it. Start big.
Yeah, go big or go home, right? I figure if I can, I don't know, eventually the goal to get New York or a Boston in there, but you got to be running sub 3 for that, eh?
Yeah.
That's quick.
You could do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude. I think if you put in You never know. Like, you could crush it on your first one, but I would say if you gave yourself a year or two, and you're putting in hard work, I think because you're fit, like I think you could do it.
Yeah. Are you gonna come with?
I could, man. I think like I've kind of been shifting away from the roads. I fell in love with the trails, and I find it's where I'm most competitive.
Okay.
I think like genetics play a part definitely in both, but I think genetics play a little bit more of a part in road running. I think ultra running's a little bit more just your grittiness, toughness out there, mental toughness. And I think it both reward hard work for sure.
Yeah.
But I think ultra running rewards hard work a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, and you need a little bit more of that mental grit because you don't know what you're running into next, what the ground underneath you looks like, right?
Yeah.
You can count on concrete most of the time to be flat.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't count on that for a trail run. Do you have a favorite that you love to do here locally?
Trail run favorite. Oh.
Like I used to go Dog Mountain up on Grouse.
Yeah.
And like that's just I love that trail.
It's beautiful.
Just up there, and you get a sick view at the end. We haven't done the Grouse grind yet, but I need to take her there. That's a real grind.
Yeah, it's a good little place to do some workouts.
But like we do the Chief basically every time we're back in town. That's a great
too.
view at the end.
I would say my favorite one in BC. It's really popular, but like in terms of trail running it's sick. Doing a hike too, but Panorama Ridge.
Yeah.
Have you done it?
I did.
Or Black Tusk.
I haven't done. What's the? You get to the one lake. It's like 3.5 hours to get.
Garibaldi Lake.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Garibaldi's beautiful.
So
that's
good.
one thing that I want to get her to too. But so Black Tusk is like another couple hours above it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of on the other side. So me and my buddies in the summer, we did a run where we ran up to Black Tusk and then come down and go up Panorama, and that's just so sick because like the views are insane. I'd say that's probably my top in BC just because the views are nuts.
Yeah.
But probably my favorite trail to train on the North Shore is the Baden Powell.
Okay.
Because you can go from like one side all the way to Deep Cove. And it's super technical, lots of elevation, lots of climbing. So if you're like training for a technical race, like it's just a good spot to put in some work.
Were you doing Black Tusk with Connor Emony or?
Don't think he made it that day. No. His brother came with us that day.
Alex,
I don't know where Connor was. Connor's killing it right though.
He's crushing it too, man. There's a lot of savages out here on the West Coast.
You got a good group, man.
Yeah, you guys are after it. He's coffee with Connor every morning. I see it. He's killing that, and then he's gonna be. When's his race? Yeah, so he's training to do an Ironman triathlon in Antarctica. I believe it's February. Okay, it is.
Could be January. I'm pretty sure it's February though.
And so that'll be him 7 for 7, correct?
Yeah, he'll do an Ironman on every continent. First person to do it, so it's crazy.
That's wild. And because you guys are training basically at least once a week or bi-weekly, I feel like.
Together? We got out for runs and stuff. We usually run together. Yeah. I don't swim, especially not in the cold. And biking, like I said, I have a road bike, but I prefer just to run. Yeah. So we'll get out for runs.
There you go. Why only running? Is it what you excel at, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's what I excel at. Like.
So you're like me. You lean into what you like.
Exactly. Do what you're good at.
I'm not a good swimmer, and I don't swim frequently. I swam during our try, and that was it. Safe to say, I won't be doing 7 Ironmans on 7.
You never know.
I know. I should say that now. Probably in a decade we'll look back. Maybe we'll clip this. Maybe we'll have done it. But is there stuff on your like bucket list that you want to accomplish, kind of the way he has?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I think right now I'm just kind of training up, but I want to be really competitive at the races. Like I've been lucky to podium on a few, and I've won one. And now next year, like I'm really putting in work. So I'd say bucket list or big goal. My biggest goal for the year is Squamish 50 miler in August. So they're hosting the Canadian Championships this year. Okay. It's a very ambitious goal. So I'll have to put in a lot of work. Yeah. And I'm sure I'm going to have some luck out there because there's some savages running, like best of Canada. All those guys and girls are going. But if you place top 2, you make Team Canada. So you could go to the championships, which last year was in Austria, year before was in Thailand. So that would be up there.
So you're representing your country at that point, and what are those is it a world championship? Does that look like? And then where's that hosted? You said it's in Austria?
I don't know exactly where it is next year. It changes every year, but this past year was Austria, and the year before was Thailand.
Okay. And then, because we've had guys like Evan Dunphy, who's like a race walker.
Yeah, he's from Richmond.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I look at what he's capable of doing at such an insane distance while keeping both feet on the freaking floor.
He's so good.
So you know Evan as well?
I don't personally know him, but I remember doing a couple years ago a half road marathon or something like that.
Okay.
We were running,
Yeah.
and I remember coming back on a section, and he's
Race
race walking,
Yeah.
and he was like passing so many people running. I was like, this is wild.
That would be such a demoralizing
Yeah.
thing to witness as you're huffing along and this guy just walks beside
Yeah.
you. You're like, I'd hit the frog as Mitchell fell.
So impressive.
That'd be struggling. Oh man, it's crazy the different athletes that we've had the opportunity to talk with, and he's one that stands out because most people don't even know how to race walking works to begin with.
Yeah,
the fact that you have to keep both feet on the ground, like that part's intense on its own. Then you throw in his KD sponsorship where he's just crushing craft dinner all the time.
I didn't know that.
He's got a wicked combo. We need a slightly healthier version of a partnership on the Athletes Podcast, but that's why we keep crushing athletic brewing, right?
Cheers.
Code Brayden20.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Free stuff.
I guess this is kind of a fun story. I didn't bring it up when you were talking about the Arizona race. So yes, I went out too hot and I didn't do as well as I wanted. But I also lost 20 to 30 minutes of time during that race. I was probably around 55K, and in the longer distances, the women are so much smarter than us guys, and they know how to pace. So we go out too hot, and then around 55K, I look behind me, and the top females zoom in, and I was like, "You're cruising right now. You can go ahead of me."
Yeah.
So I jumped aside off the trail, and I hit. Usually here running, you just hit a tree, brush, like just brushes your leg, no big deal. And I hit a cactus. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I did not know that.
Dude. So I had 3 like cactus balls this big stuck inside my leg. It actually still was bruised. And anyways, I had to stop. Thankfully, she was like, you have to flick them off when she ran by, because never ran in the desert before.
Yeah.
So I snapped the branch off and had to like flick it off my leg. And then I had 10K to the next aid station. And then once I got there, I had to sit down for like 10, 15 minutes, and they pulled out all the whatever you want to call it,
like bristles or whatever.
Yeah.
Needles. Holy crap.
So that was an experience. I'm kind of glad it happened, even though it put me back in the race. I think after that I finished 6th male, 10th overall. I would have been 6th overall if it wasn't for the dang cactus. But it was a funny story.
That'll be a little extra fuel motivation for
Yeah.
you for the next race, though.
Yeah.
It's a good thing she told you that on the way.
I would have no idea. I attempted to run with them in my leg, like the whole cactus, and then it was like bouncing up and down, and I'm like, oh.
Kyle and Kevin weren't there to save you? What the heck?
No, dude. They were there at the finish line.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then we hit the med tent, but it was wild. And even now, it's completely healed. But if I push down on one spot, I get like a nerve thing coming up. I'm not worried about it, but yeah, it's weird. Who knows what it is?
So what kind of cacti?
It was like 3 feet tall. It wasn't like your typical like tall kind of T-shaped kind of cactus. It was like, burrs.
Yeah.
It was almost like that, but like this size. So like 3 of them, like just all of a sudden, as soon as I hit the cactus, just came off on my leg. But
Doesn't sound like fun.
that wasn't fun, but a story.
Yeah, it's a good story. Dude, kudos to you for finishing.
Nah, cheers, dude.
That's
Appreciate it.
That's no fun. And then were the medics like anything to worry about, or they just let you go, no stress?
Yeah, they just cleaned it up, and I was asking, I was like, yeah, like, do I have to do anything? Because I was kind of on vacation in Arizona after this race, so I was like, I'm going in the pool and the hot tub, and they're like, yeah, no worries, you're good.
Okay.
So hopefully, like I said, it's still not 100%, but hopefully it'll heal up.
Was it a little warm there compared to running Pacific Northwest? Did that have an effect?
Yeah, I was, thankfully it wasn't too hot. One thing I was worried about, because personally I'm not good in the heat. I've had some bad experiences in the heat for races. Thankfully, during race day, it was only like low 20s.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
So it was good.
Yo, World Juniors coming up. Are you going to be watching?
Oh, yes.
Are you staying here, or are you going back to Ontario?
I am flying to Ontario next Friday,
Nice.
and then I'll be back here just before New Year's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What about you?
Probably to the island. Go watch it with the fam. That's where grandparents all them
Okay.
are over. So
Sick.
spend a couple days over there. It's family tradition, though. You watch World Juniors.
Oh, yes.
And, Canada, hopefully, man. It's fun
Cross
every
our
year.
fingers.
I feel like we're fortunate to grow up in a nation where basically every year we're guaranteed somewhat of a podium finish.
Yeah.
at least in those semifinal matches. And like, dude, that's what I grow up loving to watch. Hopefully Maddie's there in 2 years down in Vegas playing for them. That'd be sick.
Is he drafted by Vegas?
No, but that's where the World Juniors are in 2 years. And so he's 17 now, so that'll be his 19-year-old year. So fingers crossed. Yeah, one of us goalies has got to make it. I wasn't doing that, so we got to put in the rest of the fam, live vicariously through them. How your brothers doing though? Are they good?
Yeah,
I saw your brother was running too.
Yeah, my youngest brother Parks has been running. He's been kind of getting into it. He played junior hockey up until last year, so he's finished up. So he's trying to figure out, what he wants to get into. And I think he likes running.
I was going to say, you're going to kick him into it, eh?
I think he'd be good at it. So, yeah, he's doing well. My other brother Riley's doing great, too. And parents are doing well. Dad's running a bit.
Dude, no way.
Yeah.
We were saying before we started recording, his LinkedIn content gets me fired up. The sales approach, I love it.
Yeah, he's on there. And then mom's doing well too. My mom runs a lot as well.
Okay.
So
was that instilled? Like, did you guys do turkey trots and stuff like that growing up, or what was?
We never did races really, but yeah, just growing up, I was thankful to live in kind of like a fit, healthy family. Mm-hmm. Like my dad's one heck of a hockey player. Still probably would kick my ass today.
Really?
Maybe not speed-wise, but yeah, he's good.
Okay.
And then my mom's always ran, so I'm sure that has played an effect.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think the nature versus nurture thing is important, and a lot of people question whether they should have their kids in athletics, how much should they be putting them in, what sports, and it's like, every sport, as much as you possibly can, get them outside, not sitting on technology.
Yes, 100%.
And that way, whether they want to be a runner, whether they want to be a hockey player, a football player, they at least have those skills and they're not working upstream after, 10, 12 years old. Because that's the worst. I know we have friends who we grew up watching who weren't athletic and makes a tougher life afterwards.
Yes, indeed.
And you want to be able to move around and enjoy life and go for runs. With friends, right?
Yeah, go out on, it's nice when you get to a point where you can just go, okay, let's go run a 10K.
Yeah, right?
We're going to do that.
Like we almost did this morning. Yeah. We should have. Maybe we'll do it. What are you saying tomorrow?
I could be down tomorrow. I'm not on a training block right now, so I'm game.
Sachin Lati, who we had on the pod, he's a former first responder, worked for Border Services. He ran 22 marathons in 22 days. Over the summer.
See the big, pretty muscular?
Yeah,
okay, I saw that one.
And so he ran from Revelstoke to Victoria, raised a crazy amount of money for Honor House. But one of the things that he does every Sunday now is like a local run in White Rock.
Oh, okay.
So I figured we should rip that with him. He's doing some stuff with Lulu. We're going to start doing some stuff with Lulu.
Sick.
Get you involved. We should have some fun. I'll be bringing up the rear, but
no,
what?
You'll be good, man.
We'll get some miles in, and that'll be fun. Like how you actually prepped for this, what you were doing, whether it's like nutrition, what that day in the life of Brayden Mills looked like as a future pro.
For sure. So I'll be honest, nutrition wise, I'm pretty boring.
Yeah.
All my friends will say I'm not the greatest cook. I'm not. I am very simple. During the week, my dinners usually consist of sweet potatoes and ground elk or ground beef.
Nice.
And then on the other side of that, it would just be like a stir fry with tofu or ground beef again.
Oh, okay. You're on the tofu grind, eh?
Yeah. I one of my buddies, Ennis, he's vegan. And
lunchtime,
yeah. Honestly, I'll probably just have eggs, turkey, bacon, piece of toast. In terms of race nutrition, I usually before training, I'll have some oatmeal. Okay. Before a race, it's always oatmeal. And then during the race, as much as I don't really enjoy it, but I just pound gels. Really? And then some Tailwind electrolyte drink.
Okay.
45-minute gel every 45 minutes.
And that's it?
It's pretty much it, yeah.
No maple syrup?
No, just gels, man.
Okay.
In some of the longer distances, like the death race, I stop and actually had some actual food. Like I brought some frozen waffles type thing and just jam it in, but... yeah, that's pretty much it.
What did that death race take you? How long?
16 hours.
It's like 2/3 of your day. You go right to bed after.
I honestly had a hard time sleeping the first night.
I can imagine.
Just so much caffeine with all the gels all day. Yeah, you're mangled after a race.
Yeah,
because you're just consuming sugar and caffeine the whole day.
Yeah,
so it takes a few days to kind of get back to normal.
That would be not fun. Anything afterwards you did to make sure your legs weren't jello?
Recovery.
Did you Normatec it up or what?
No, I thankfully my body's been pretty resilient. I recovered fairly quickly. This past race, just sat in the hot tub with the boys and just kind of recovered that way.
That's all Kyle does, hey? Just sits in the hot tub or does 100-kilometer runs and bikes, whatever. Yeah, a huge hot tub guy. Yo, Brayden, can't thank you enough for coming on. This is fun. It's been great to catch up. Long overdue. We'll see you in another 4 years. You'll be pro, putting up 7,000 miles every year. It'll be ridiculous. As we wrap up every episode, biggest piece of advice for that next gen. You want to drop it here?
Sure. I think I already kind of said it, but I think just don't overcomplicate it, and whatever you want to do, just do it. Like I said, we live in a day and age where you have access to learn everything through the internet. So if you want to run a marathon, go find a plan online and just do it. Just follow a plan, and then at the end of the day, you're going to do it, and then it's just a domino effect from there. So I'd say just do it.
Listen to Nike and Brayden, just do it. And then if you do run that marathon, drop your name down below, and then we'll reference you in the next episode, and Brayden will be the one that inspired you to do it.
There we go.
Beauty. Yo, thanks for being good, Bobo.
Dude, it's an honor. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Dude, anytime.